Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Women's Champ Show. Thankful Thursday. If you're out there and you're not afraid, please say hello. You're welcome to comment. I'm not sure where Toya went, but I'm sure she will be back in a moment. Thank you all for joining. Let me know if someone can, if the sound is there. We want to make sure that we can have a wonderful conversation tonight with my guest that will be back on shortly. Again, hello there. Hey, Narada. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. The sound is great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you, Steph. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what's going on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Hey, Auntie Lori. I'm going to do a commercial break, you all, and we will be right back so I can see where my guest is. Okay. So just give me one moment. Hold tight. This is going to be an amazing show. So don't go anywhere. Just watch this commercial. RETV, let me just say this. You guys know I constantly promote our relationship entertainment television. There are other shows that are on the network. There are shows, I believe, for everyone. So I'm just going to show one of the commercials that shows some of the other talent that is on this network. One moment.
Hey, it's your girl, Tia Robertson. I'm the host of Entrepreneur Insider. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern for entrepreneurs and news that you need to know about. See you there.
There you are. As if on cue. One thing that I love about doing a live show is that you never really know what is going to happen.
Right.
And sometimes people prefer, I see why some folks like to do recorded shows, but I keep it as honest and as real as possible. Sometimes things just happen out of your control. What can you do? So thank you all again for joining in. I'm here tonight with my beautiful friend Latoya. And thank you, Kevin Brown, for joining us. He knows who he is on tonight, my beautiful friend. But hi, Crystal. People showing you some love, Toy. So I encourage everyone that comes in, if you haven't done so already, please share this. Everyone may not be on, everyone might not be, on Facebook. So that's something, and so we are also on YouTube as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have Latoya Dotson tonight. And Toy, I knew we wouldn't solely focus on your journey with breast cancer, but it was important to talk about that, especially with it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I do not want, I've said I can't go without having someone share their testimony, and who better like to know someone that has conquered breast cancer, who has survived, who has devoted her time to helping other women with breast cancer. So I just want to go back a bit, because for those of you that do not know, and I'm going to get situated here I'm going to be situated here in a minute, so I can put your information at the bottom. But let's start talking about Pink Savvy. I want to talk about your organization, Pink Savvy.
Okay, so Pink Savvy. First of all, thank you, Toya, for having me.
Of course.
It's such an honor and a privilege. For those who don't know, Toya is my long time friend from college, and I'm so very proud and honored to be on the Women's Champ show tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
So you're welcome, darling. But Pink Savvy was actually given to me in a dream in the year of 2014. So I had no idea, what it meant, what it was for. I just wrote it down. And as time progressed, the unveiling came of what it was for. And so, yeah, my mother-in-law was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And I began to volunteer during that time when she was going through her treatment. And even when she went into remission, I continued to do volunteer work almost every single day on my lunch break, because my job was right across the street. And so I just had a heart for those women. They were losing so much. I saw their confidence plummet. A lot of women go through it alone, and I became a chemo companion. And so that's what I started doing. And then that's when God gave me the revelation of what Pink Savvy was for. And then it was established.
Wow. So if you are not involved, sometimes we don't know that there are other ways in which we can contribute. A lot of people will sign up for a breast cancer walk, and that's great. You have all of these, individuals out there, supporting the cause, but there are people that after these walks are done that are still living with this disease. And to say that you were a chemo companion, I've never heard of that. And just explain, like, what all did you do as far as being a chemo companion?
Basically take snacks to ladies, sit with women that did not really want to share that they were going through cancer at the time. It wasn't specifically breast cancer ladies that I sat with. There were women that dealt with different types of cancer. I would polish their fingernails. I would, like I said, take them snacks. We would have conversation. I learned a lot about the female body and aging from those women that I became a chemo companion to. And that was basically my task, to sit with them, get them what they needed while they were in treatment, and keep them company.
You know what I like, Toy, is that you said you had a dream. You weren't sure what it all entailed, but you wrote it down. And you got started. You started somewhere. And I think that is important for all of us to be mindful of, when an idea comes to our mind, to not just let it just be that, an idea. we don't have, I think we limit ourselves because we want big picture. We want it all just spelled out for us before we start walking it out. But it came over time because you started volunteering. And then it was like, okay, now you're going to do Pink Savvy. So what all has Pink Savvy done since its inception?
Yeah, well, first, let me piggyback off of that.
Okay.
When you were saying about it being a certain way to get started, because trust me, I struggled with that part of it. I didn't know how it was going to be started. I'm not originally from Memphis, so I did not know a lot of people.
Mhm.
So I was wondering, how was I going to get started with the organization when I didn't know anyone? Of course, nonprofits require a lot. They require a board. So you got to have people that are willing to walk alongside you to do the
Mhm.
work as well. It's not a one-man show. And
Mhm.
so I had to literally ask people that I wasn't really close to, but I knew if this was a work that they were willing to come alongside me and do.
Uh-huh.
And I sat down, I did the paperwork, I studied, because launching a nonprofit is not cheap. So I
Mhm.
spent a lot of my own personal funds. I want to say probably like the first 2 years, maybe 3, of having the organization itself,
Okay.
so that, we could help the women.
Mhm.
But I just want to encourage somebody, it doesn't have to look like perfection for you to start.
Mm.
If God gives you something to do, just walk it out.
Mhm.
He'll
Mhm.
continue to guide your steps as you go through the process.
Mm.
So,
I
yeah,
love that. It doesn't have to look like perfection. And I think that that's how some of us, I can speak for myself, but I believe that some people are in that mindset. They want the start to look amazing. But you know what I realized? I'm somebody that ran track in high school. The look on somebody's face when you first start, it's rough because you're trying to get your momentum. You're trying to make sure you're not disqualified, staying like in your lane. There's so much going through your head, and hitting it, and it's just like the relief comes the closer you get to that finish line. And I
absolutely.
think that that is something that is definitely important to be mindful of.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about the perfection. And there was something a good friend of mine said, that anytime you start a business, just go ahead and get the kinks out because they're going to happen. The failures are going to come. And it's okay because it's a learning process as well,
It
and that's just something.
definitely is a learning process. Yeah,
Mhm.
it is.
Definitely is. So you're helping all of these women
Hmm.
since you said 2014 was your dream.
Hmm.
Let's fast forward to 2019 and what happens in your life.
Well, in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Um,
Mhm.
like I said, at this time, nobody in my family had dealt with it.
Mhm.
And you know how sometimes you kind of feel like, did this happen to me by association? Like, what is this all about?
Mhm.
So that's how I was feeling in that moment. Like, what is this all about? Why did I need to walk through this process?
Mhm.
Because it almost felt like I needed to be validated to do the work, because I always got asked, "Well, are you a breast cancer survivor? Like, why are you doing this work?" Like, I'm just like, because God gave it to me to do.
Mhm.
And so I was diagnosed in 2019, and it changed my life.
Mhm.
It was a really, really rough process.
Mhm.
I had to go through, of course, chemotherapy, 22 rounds of chemotherapy. I went through 24 rounds of radiation. I've had 4 surgeries, and it's been a lot. It has absolutely been a lot. But I can truly say that God has kept me through all of it. He's
Mhm.
kept me through all of it. And I know the enemy wanted me to shut my mouth um, in that process by him attacking attacking my body. Although we know, God had to allow it to happen, but I was attacked with the very thing that I was set out to help women through.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand that at first, but
Mm-hmm.
I know there were things that, like I said, God allowed in areas that I had to be cultivated in my life, and also lessons that I needed to learn so that I may be able to truly, truly walk these women through this process. Not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well.
Yes, mentally. You have a question from Narada. That sounds like a lot. How do you remain positive?
Trust me, I didn't always remain positive. It wasn't always positive. There were times when I really, really felt in despair. Like I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why I needed to walk through that process. But then I was like, why not me? I'm no different than anybody else. Because I wouldn't wish cancer on anybody.
Yes.
But there were some ugly times. There were times when I would just cry and throw a fit. But I'm thankful for the word of God. I always talk about God's word because that is what kept me. That would always bring me back in, standing on the promises that God made in his word, that no matter what, weapons will form, but they won't prosper.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the weapons that formed in my life. But as you can see, it did not prosper.
It did not. It did not. But you said like how you were able to truly help women. And again, I want to thank those of you for coming into the stream. And if you have questions, this is a show where we like questions and comments, and we like to be interactive. But there are, it's interesting that you were helping women and people want to know, well, why are you helping women and you don't have any tie at first, to this particular disease. And then you said your mother-in-law received it, and then you receive a diagnosis. And I believe that a lot of what we deal with in life is to enlighten and to empower other people. And you said something earlier about you knew that the enemy wanted you to keep your mouth closed. And that's so that we those of us that know the word of God know that we overcome by our testimony. And oftentimes I think when people would think of testimony, it would be so, I don't want to say minute, but I'm going to say minute. People would just be zeroed in on like a car. I got a car. I got a house. Those tangible things. But to say that I was delivered from a disease that a lot of women do not survive. Speak volumes. And God was just showing you, number one, you gained a lot of knowledge during the time that you were helping other women. So there was a lot that you knew to do for yourself because of the years that you spent helping other women.
Yeah.
So when were you clear?
I was clear in June of 2021. Thank God everything has been clear since then. But I've learned so much about life and people, and to value life and people.
You probably want to say that again.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about life and people, and to value life and people, because there are times when we tend to dwell on things that really do not matter. And life can change like that in the blink of an eye. And while we are in good health and in our, have all of our mental stability and all of this, a lot of times we take our everyday activities, mobility, we take it all for granted. But in this process, I lost a lot of things during that process. There was a period of time where I couldn't stand up on my own. There was a period of time where I could not remember one sentence to the next. I had to literally learn how to read all over again with kindergarten books. There was a time where I couldn't comprehend things. And all of those things were like things that I took for granted, you know, before. Like being able to stand up on the side of the bed and just move when I got ready to. But here I am. I can't get off the toilet without holding the walls. Or asking somebody to come to the side of the bed and help me stand up because my muscles are so weak that I can't do it on my own. And so now, before I even get out of the bed, if I sit up on the side of the bed, I'm like, thank you, Lord, for my life, for my health, and my strength.
Absolutely.
Before I even move. So I learned a lot of things. I feel like I've always been a loving person.
You have been.
Like,
you have
but
been.
it's like,
I'll tell you all, since I've known her, met her in 1998. Since I've known her, Toya has always had a great heart, a fragile heart. And sometimes some of us have to go through some tough things. It toughens us up a bit. But I'm grateful that your heart was not hardened. Your heart can get tougher, but it can get tougher, but you don't want it to become hardened. I just thank God that you did not end up with a hardened heart. So I just want to say that, yeah, she's not just saying that. You are a loving person.
Yeah, because a lot of people that I've encountered that go through this, they become bitter and they internalize, you know, why it had to be them. Why am I fighting this disease? Because it's something that you don't understand. You don't understand. You have no power over it. The only power you have is your faith and your hope and your trust in God that He will get you through it. But some people, they choose to throw all of that out the window. Their faith, their belief, and they just live. And it's like, well, if it's going to take me out, it's going to take me out. I got to die some type of way. But it's like, why not fight with the Lord on your side?
I like that. Why not fight? We don't have to succumb. And some of you may be watching. This isn't just about breast cancer. That was one of the many obstacles Toya has faced in her life. One of many. We just decided to talk about it because of the month that we're in. But wow, Toya, that says a lot. But I want to ask you this, because some women, even now, do not know how to properly give themselves a breast exam, a breast check, to do your monthly checks. And I had a good friend of mine on here as well, who's devoted her life to helping women with breast cancer. And for you, what was the red flag? How did you know, what made you even go in to get checked?
Well, I had started actually having pain in my left arm. I didn't have any breast pain. I had pain in my left arm. I started becoming extremely fatigued. Like it didn't matter how much sleep I get. It seemed like it just wasn't enough. So I was tired all the time, fatigue, arm pain, and that basically was it. But I never considered it to be breast cancer because I was working with these ladies. I did my self-examinations all the time. And like I said, I had gone back and forth to the doctor for almost a year. To the emergency room, they would do my blood work. They would always say, well, we don't see anything wrong, all the time. And I got to the point where I wanted to just give up. And I was just like, God, you got to help me with whatever this is I'm dealing with. And I just began to pray. I was led to change my diet completely.
Okay.
So I changed my diet. That helped some, but I still had the fatigue and the arm pain, which felt like a pulling in my arm almost. Okay. So they kept checking me to see if I was having some heart issues whenever I went to the hospital, because they was like, that's a sign of a heart attack, having pain in your arm. But that was never it. And so I made a decision. This happened all 2018. I made a decision in 2019 that I would go to every specialist. I would just go down the list and get all of these tests ran. And I knew a really, really good heart doctor. So I went to him. I actually worked with him when I worked for Baptist. And I called him and I told him what was going on. And he got me in and he ran all these tests on me. And he saw it on a heart CT scan. But it was so far back behind my nipple area that it was not visible to any other scan. And I knew then in that moment that for sure God was on my side, because he could have said, I don't see anything wrong with your heart, just like everybody else said. But he didn't. And then he wanted me to get a mammogram. He said it's probably nothing. I see it often. It may be some calcifications from having babies. But go get it checked. I didn't go get it checked the first time. And he called me in 2 weeks, which was another God wink. And he asked me had I went to go get the mammogram, and I said no. And he called and made my appointment. And I went and got the mammogram. And from there, the ball got to going.
I had never heard of the type of breast cancer. Number one, I didn't know that there were types.
Yeah.
Until you told me. And could you just explain to the audience? And again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Excuse me. If you have any questions, please feel free. Please share this with someone. If they aren't on social media, it's showing on YouTube. Follow Relationship Entertainment Television. But can you please talk to everyone and let them know about the type of breast cancer that you dealt with? Because you were the first person I had heard of. That was my first time hearing about it. I had never heard of it.
So yeah, there are different stages. Of course, most people hear the stage 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. There are different stages. There's even a stage 0. It's still considered cancer.
Okay.
But there are different grades to cancer. And there are, so you can be like a stage 1, 3A, stage 2, 3C, B. All of those numbers and those grades, they matter because the higher the grade, the more severe the cancer is. So I was diagnosed with the stage 1, grade 3, C, which meant that it was aggressive. And it was a triple positive breast cancer. A lot of Black women are diagnosed with triple negative. Both are very deadly, but the triple negative is a little more serious because they don't know where it stems from. The triple positive breast cancer normally is by your own body, which is your hormonal system. So the triple positive was positive for hormone estrogen, progesterone positive. And there was this new little cell protein that was popping around called HER2. And the HER2 is what caused me to have to go through chemo for an entire year. And it multiplies quickly. So that's what type of cancer that I had, that they diagnosed me with. And God worked miracles through all of that. All of that, because when they went in to do the surgery, my surgery was supposed to be only 45 minutes because the tumor was the size of a jelly bean. But when they got inside, they had discovered that some of the cells had started to break away and was trying to attach itself to other parts of the body. But because God is so good, they ended up going back in 3 times. My surgery ended up being 2 hours and 45 minutes. And the cells that they collected all died.
You talk about miracle, because I think the moment most people hear cancer, they just immediately think death. and your spirit, you had to fight. I witnessed you when I met you, you had hair. And even though back then quick weaves were definitely in, y'all
Yeah.
were the first ones to tell me about quick weave. And y'all, she was talking about me before we went live. She said, Toya, we could get you to get braids. Yes, but then I turned 40 and that changed. But a woman's hair is her glory. That's biblical. It's, and especially us women of color, the diversity with being able to do the braids, do the wigs, the relaxers, the natural look, to not have your hair. And so for me to see you in that vulnerable state, God is so amazing, because I was just like, I'm not losing my friend. My friend is not going to pass. And we could say that, and you just hope, because we know that God is bigger than any of our desires.
Yeah.
But for me to see you as your friend, to see you in that vulnerable state, and some women aren't always ready to show that vulnerability. And God even allowed me an opportunity to go to one of your appointments. How important was it for you to be treated? I don't want to say regular, but to not treat you like you were this sickly person that was helpless.
It was so important. Because you really need something to take your mind from that. You don't want to be focused on that all the time. Anytime women reach out to me and they're like, my friend is going through, like, what should I do? I'm like, just be you. Just be who you were, who you've always been. We don't want anything different, if you want to send something special or something nice, do that, but please don't overkill.
Okay.
I had to block a few people because they were sending me inspirational messages every day, YouTube videos of worship songs and all of that. And it's just like, like, I know God. I do. I really, really do. But I don't want the pity, all the time.
Yes.
I don't want to drown in this. And I know they meant well.
Yes. Yes.
But for me, I had to do what I needed to do for me. And I didn't even want to talk about the cancer most of the time, because when I looked in the mirror, I saw it. I would see myself. I saw how going through all of those treatments changed me. It was literally a stripping from my head to my toe. A lot of people don't know that my fingernails rotten off from the inside out. My toenails did the same. I even had jawbone removed because chemo had literally got in and rotted part of my jaw. So I've had things that have happened that I had to deal with personally. So I really did not want the people that I loved, that were going to be around me, that was supposed to be uplifting me, to be concentrating on the cancer that I was dealing with all the time. Just be you. Just be who you always been. Be that friend. If they need something, just ask, do you need anything? If they say no, let it go.
Okay. Because I think sometimes, and like you said, people mean well.
Yeah.
But okay, let's watch a movie. To help you keep some normalcy.
Yes.
Because nobody knows beyond God what you were truly dealing with. Because what some may not know is you had children. You have children, but you had minor children at that time. This wasn't something that you were just dealing with as an empty nester. To have your family watch you go through that as well. And I can only imagine the thoughts that might have gone through your head on, will I wake up tomorrow and see my husband? Will I wake up tomorrow and see my sons?
Every day. Every day. When they would walk out of that door going to school, that would be like, especially on chemo day.
Yeah.
Will I see them? Will I see them
Mm-hmm.
grow up, you know? But I'm thankful. I'm so thankful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so thankful. So it can be any of us, that face these battles. I just hope people don't take life and their health for granted.
Uh-huh. Which we sometimes do,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still doing the work.
Yeah.
And while you're still doing the work, you're dealing with it now with your mom. Toya's mom has recently been diagnosed with breast cancer.
You know, uh, I was really upset about that part. Um,
And it's okay, Toya. I'm gonna give you a minute to get it together because it's your mother. And I want to just encourage you right now because everything that you did for someone else's mom all those years before your diagnosis, before your mother-in-law's diagnosis, now your mother's, and the same God that took you through yours. I know you know this.
I do.
I know
I
you know this. And will take her through hers.
Yeah,
But what people have to realize is whether you're a believer or not, we're human beings and it's okay to be upset.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think that people, because they realize, think positive, think I'm not a robot, I'm a human being.
Yeah, I
So
always
all
tell it's okay to feel. It's
yes.
okay to feel, be upset. God understands that. He understands that. He had his moments when he, when he wept. And so he understands that and it's okay. Um, and I'm upset, but I'm not upset because I know there will be victory.
Mm-hmm.
I know there is a process to the victory though.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, um, is where sometimes my thoughts are the process
Oh,
to the
absolutely.
victory.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know
Absolutely.
what? I hold on to the promise. And I posted that today. Like, I'm holding on to the promise because
Mhm.
when I was diagnosed, that has been my prayer, like covering my family, even generations before me.
Mm.
And, at first you couldn't pay me $1 million to talk in front of people.
Mhm.
But it's like I do believe the enemy wants to do anything in his power to make me shut my mouth.
Mhm.
Simply because he keeps throwing this same dart. And it's like I know it's a mission
Mhm.
that God has given me.
Mhm.
But he wants to see if I'm gonna back down from the
Mhm.
mission. But
Mhm.
I'm not backing down from the mission.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
women are going to be set free. Women are going to be healed
Mhm.
from this.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be a part of that mission in doing so. He just really made me matter,
Mhm. Mhm.
by coming at my mom.
Yes.
So, like, it's really on.
It's
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 on.
it's far more personal.
Yes.
It's
It's, it's
far
far
more
more
personal.
personal. It's
Yes.
one thing to mess with me, but now,
You'd mess with my mom. You like as they used to say, them fighting words.
right.
We
What
talking
they
about
say,
my
you
mama.
mess with the wrong one.
You mess or let me tell you something. I like to say this. You got the right wrong person today.
Ooh, you done mess with the wrong one. They always say that slogan, cancer pick the wrong chick, but like you mess with the wrong one for real.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so grateful for the strength that you've exemplified because I'm somebody that had a chance to, like I said, to see you. Like I physically saw you. We talked. And I'm not saying that it was easy. And again, like you said, like we got to understand that no matter what any of us are dealing with, it's not going to be a walk in the park, and the emotions can be like a roller coaster,
Absolutely.
and we don't know what's further on up the road for any of us. And I love that you circle back to he wants to keep your mouth closed and you refuse it again because words are powerful.
Hmm.
We know as believers about we can kill a situation or we can bring it to life with our mouth.
Absolutely.
I've always been big on this. Watch the people that you are around that are in your ear. And sometimes it takes you to leave that which you have known for a long time as well. Not sure who needs to hear that one.
Hmm.
Sometimes your circle is going to change because of your experiences and the places you need to be, Toya, the arenas you need to be in to speak life over women. This is not the end. And so many people hear doomsday, not even just with cancer, with a number of things. They just think it's over.
Yeah.
But you have such a victorious walk. And that's what's going to help women and men be
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
because you realize, no more. I've been quiet for too long.
Right.
And we've had private conversations about the work that we know we have to do.
Yeah.
Um, and,
Absolutely.
and it's going to be done. It is, and I think too, what I love about this is that you're showing people, yes, I'm going through this, but I'm still doing my work.
Yeah.
Two things can be true at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's okay to pause, get yourself together, but do not quit.
Mm.
Do not quit. When I tell you, well, you already know. The
But
last
tell
3 years has
them.
been like boom, boom, boom,
Uh-huh.
boom.
Uh-huh.
One thing after the next,
Mhm.
and there was a time where I did just want to be like, forget it. Like,
Mhm.
it's too much. I
Mhm.
can't.
Mhm.
Why am I still pushing forward when I keep getting the wind knocked out of me? But when you hold on to faith and you hold on to the promises of God,
Mhm.
the promises that He has given you for your life,
Mhm.
I'm just like, all right, God, I'm kicking and screaming now.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
because it wasn't a willingness that I'm here, to just be honest.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
if God gave you something to do, don't go kicking and screaming. Just do it.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
do it.
Just do it.
Just
Like
do
you were doing now. What are you working on now as far as Pink Savvy? Where is Pink Savvy at with
Well, Pink
helping
Savvy,
women?
we're still doing the work in the community. We just had an event where we hosted 6 women that are some are fighting and some are survivors, where we
Okay.
gave them a full day of pampering and love.
Mhm.
One thing I learned when going through my treatment, I've always been a glam girl,
Of
and
course.
so
Of
so
course.
I made sure, even when I was going through my treatment, that I tried to keep myself looking good. It made me feel better.
Yes.
So we gave those women a day of that, serving them, honoring them,
Yes.
pampering them. And then they got a professional photo shoot as well. So they got to get dressed up and get their nails done, manicures, pedicures, full glam. And we just had a good time just serving those women. We will have an event next year. It's going to be a Praise and Pink brunch.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so it's going to be a Praise and Pink brunch. And I'm so looking forward to that. But God is also establishing me in ministry as well. And so He has given me Thrive Through It. ministry.
Mm,
And
mm, mm,
this will not only help women that are going through or have overcome breast cancer, but
mm,
it is actually a focus in all areas of life
mm, mm,
that
mm,
we as women have have been challenged and struggle with coming through it.
mm, mm. Somebody said, Miranda, she loves the title of the ministry, Thrive Through It. Because I think a lot of people want to hide through it. We want to go through. We grew up in church. We were talking about that before we got on here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those colloquialisms that we would use in church. Girl, I'm going through.
Yeah.
We would hear this out. Girl, how you doing? I'm going through.
I'm
But
going through here.
and some people want to hide, and I understand that. But I think we practice too much of hiding where it does not show our humanity, especially people that are believers. It's like, I'm going through my rough spot. I don't want anybody to see me sweat, but I only want y'all to see me, like I'm always good. And I'm not saying that, and I've said this before, not that you want this humdrum, like, oh, y'all, everything just happening to me. But there's a way in which we can share our story, as tough as it is, the way you just put it, Toy. Thrive through it, not hide through it. And I know that there's a time and a place for everything.
Right.
However, be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Be
Absolutely.
honest.
Absolutely.
And it's hot, and some people are suffering in silence, and they don't have to, because again, they try to make it seem like, everything
Like
is
it's
cool.
seamless all the time. All the time. I've learned that the hard way, that it is
Mhm.
okay. It's okay to of course you have to have the right people. You have to have
Mhm.
that person that you can be vulnerable with.
Mhm.
Um, because I think this culture, and the cancel culture and the I gotta make it look good all the time culture, a
Mhm.
lot of times they have a hard time with
Mhm.
allowing people or allowing someone in to know that they are having a hard time and that they
Mhm.
are struggling.
Mhm.
Um, just being in the line of work that I've been doing, there are women that have considered taking their life several times
Mhm. Mhm.
because cancer is not only a physical fight, it's a mental fight.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, you just think about these women losing their breasts, losing their reproductive organs, just losing so much. And you really kind of lose you really have to kind of rediscover yourself after
Mm.
you go through that process. You
Mhm.
really do. Because
Mhm.
you're not the same person.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're no longer that same person anymore. So you really have to do a lot of work in finding who you are
Mhm.
after that
Who you are,
diagnosis.
that diagnosis. And Toy, I know we're talking about breast cancer, but there are so many other cancers.
Hmm.
Doubt,
Yes.
procrastination,
Hmm.
bitterness, low
Rejection,
self-esteem,
insecurity.
unforgiveness,
Ooh,
insecurities, the unforgiveness of oneself, all cancers. And people worried about something hitting them physically, but like you just said, it's physical as well as mental.
hmm.
And a lot of us got things going on mentally that can help a physical cancer grow. So we have to be mindful of that. And you mentioned about the hormones. We have to be mindful of what we eat, of what we are just putting into our bodies.
Absolutely.
That's important.
Yeah.
Um, I just think, a lot of us, the word of God says we perish for the lack of knowledge,
Mhm.
of not knowing. And we are in a society now where so much information is out there.
So much information
So
is
much information is out there where, I would tell my children, I say, hey, if I wanted to know something, I had a book report to do, I had to walk to the library and actually open up an encyclopedia because we didn't have Encyclopedia Britannica at home.
hmm.
I had to walk to the library, okay? Y'all can just sit there and Google.
Yeah. Everything is at your fingertips.
WebMD, we didn't have all of that. We had to seek
Yep.
the information.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do our part because he wants us to be good stewards over our bodies. We have to do our parts to not just take care of our spiritual aspect. You have some people where it's just like, oh, I study the word of God, I study the word of God, and that's awesome. How are you eating? What are you eating? How much physical activity?
What are you doing with your time? Exercising, you know. He just not only wants you spiritually fit, he wants you physically fit as well. You have to take care of your physical man.
Yes.
And sadly, a lot of people lack that. And taking care of their physical man and being disciplined in what they eat and put in their body.
Discipline is so important. So you will have praise in pink next year. So I don't know. One thing that I enjoy about this platform, and again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. People can always go back and take a look at it because sometimes you might have missed what someone said while it was live. But I do want to make sure I put up if you have a Cash App or another form of payment so that people can give to your ministry.
Well, they could actually, if they want to donate to Pink Savvy, you can put up our website. It's www.pinksavvyinc.org, and they can donate through our website.
Okay, keep talking. I'm going to go ahead and get that together so I can try to add that for you because I want people to be able to give to this cause. Like you said, the first 2 years you were giving a lot of your money, and I know you're still giving. You're putting your money in it.
Absolutely. That's a part of who I am. It is so rewarding. I know. Don't start fussing, please, because I know you're about to fuss, Toya. But it is the work that I do, being able to help those women. It is such a rewarding thing for me, to have the impact on the lives, to see them like ring the bell and do all of that. I mean, it just does a lot for my spirit. It does a lot for me.
Explain ring the bell, because we can't assume that. I don't want to assume that everyone knows what that means. I remember you saying it.
A celebration when you complete it with chemo treatments, you get to ring the bell. Different facilities do it differently. Some people have a handbell, but we had a cathedral bell. It was a really, really big bell that you actually had to pull a big string and you got to ring it. And that was like the best feeling ever, to be done with all of that chemo and to be able to ring that bell.
You absolutely do not look like what you've been through.
I'm thankful.
All of what you said. And I just want people, something that I hope that people take away from this, Toya, is that when we go through these different circumstances, it is not for us to just hold on to that information. It is really meant for us to share how we've overcome and to help someone else along. Because otherwise, why are we here?
Absolutely. Otherwise, why are we overcoming if we are not sharing what God has done in our lives? Because the scripture says we overcome by the words of our testimony.
Absolutely.
So we are commissioned to help other people, overcome what it is that we've gone through. And so, I never keep my mouth closed about it, because I'm unleashed and I'm do whatever it is, God has commissioned me to do. I'm ready.
I love to hear that you are ready. And so many women need to hear your story. Some of you may be that are watching, you may know a woman that is experiencing it now, or she has gone through it. I really invite you all to share Toya's story. As Miranda put earlier, you are a walking miracle. Miracles still exist.
They do.
They still exist.
I'm telling you.
And we are looking at someone. And as we get ready to close out, um, I've been asking people this season to just kind of finish this, what I know now.
Mm.
And the floor is all yours. What I know now.
What I know now is that I can I say two things?
No, Toy, I told you before we got on here, I was like, Toy, this is about you, okay?
Okay, so what I
This is
know
about you. Mm-hmm.
and this was after breast cancer, I learned during the process is that no is a complete statement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was a person that always tried to show up for everything and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to learn to love myself first in that process. Because I still find myself trying to do it and be, even when I was going through the process. And like I said, I learned that no was a complete statement.
Okay.
And I also learned that things don't happen to us in this life, or things are not allowed to happen to us in this life for nothing. There's always a purpose.
Yes.
Just make sure you look for it. A lot of people go through things and they don't learn from it. Learn from what you go through. Grow through what you go through.
Grow.
That's what I learned.
That's one of my favorite songs, and I thank you for sharing that, Toya, is by Mary Mary, their song Dirt. And when people, like, dirt is needed for the flowers to grow, but who wants to be in dirt? Messy.
Yeah.
Dirt. It's dirt. It's dirty.
It's dirty.
So we are going to have some dirty circumstances with some beautiful testimonies.
Ooh, yes, baby.
When
flowers grow.
And and it's contagious. We're going to help other people be that. So I want to tell you, thank you for not giving up, because we needed to hear from you. And sometimes people think, oh, I'm not on some big stage. It's not about that. God is looking for obedience. It has nothing to do with the numbers
at all.
He's looking for obedience. So every life that you touch, Toya, is going to touch another life. That's how I always look at it. You are in a lot of places. And I just believe in that business is going to grow. People are going to give. Let me put that back up there again. Please, if you want to donate, go to her website. Her Instagram is on there as well. I want to thank you all for joining us. It has been a wonderful hour. Honey, we could do another show just dealing with no.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay?
Woo.
We can do a completely different show just dealing with no. Because oftentimes people want you to show up the way they've been used to you showing up, and they're not even considering what you're dealing with and how there is a shift that's going on within you that requires you to not be for everyone, because that's not what we're designed for either.
Absolutely.
So I'm telling you, thank you for fighting. I love that shirt. You are a survivor. We are praying for your mom. We are praying for other families that are going through this. And let's just not think about October, but think about ways in which we can give to this wonderful cause. We're all in this together. And we do not, whomever it is that's watching this, you do not have to go through this alone. This is someone who's gone through it. And I think oftentimes people want to connect with someone that has gone through what they are going through. And I get it, because the things that I'm dealing with is some things I'm dealing with you've never dealt with. I can talk to some people about some things. I can't speak from that perspective of breast cancer. You know, personally, it hit you personally. So you have a personal message to go along with it.
Yeah.
So if you all know of anyone that is dealing with this, and somebody may watch this later on down the line, reach out to Latoya Dotson. She is a beautiful lady that cares about people. And if Toya is going to put on an event, it's going to be done with the spirit of excellence. And I love that about you. It's going to be fly. She's always fly. So I thank you all for tuning in tonight. We will be back again next week. But yeah, what a story, Toy. What a story. And I know you all that are watching, y'all have stories too. You never know who I'm going to ask to come on and share their story. So until next time, I hope everyone be safe and be great.